Hello again, everybody. It's another episode of the Icy Cast, and it's myself, John McKellar of Icebox Glasgow, and I am, of course, joined by the man without a face, Jamie McDermid.
Hello, everybody. Hello.
I've got one question for you tonight, Jamie. Are you amplified to rock?
I don't know, mate. I don't know. I mean, I'm turned up to about 6, maybe 7.
At your age, mate, I'll take that. I'll take that at your age. Even out of 20. Jamie, Jamie, what have you been up to anyway? I know that we recently announced the end of Icebox at the Barras. That's going to be closing up about the end of the year, basically turn of the year. We're going to be leaving Barras. You're working on Sound Booth, of course, the screenplay, and putting together a casting crew for that film. How are things going in general?
Aye, good. I mean, they've gone good. Just gets a lot of fucking. It's still just the faff now. Obviously, we were talking about rewrites and that, so I've got a fairly decent rewrite to start. I'll probably start that tonight right after this for a bit. It's quite a good rewrite actually, and then just get it done for Monday, just so I know exactly what I'm working with essentially after that. And then the kind of body of work definitely would start until after New Year. So there's a couple of folk that I did want to meet up with and have meetings with, but everybody's just stopped work and going home and everything else to know. Just everything stoked for fucking Christmas, which is fair. Folk have got families, so I'll just probably still do quite a bit of work, but it'll be fun work now that I know what I'm doing. Basically, and I pulled back. I was doing the video. Mind, I was talking about the video one that should be released just now. The diaries,
right?
The video,
yeah, because we released the new Weird Box. By the way, folks, sorry for the delay on that. There were a multitude of technical issues that caused that to be delayed. But Weird Box Fairy Mythology is out now on our Facebook, YouTube, still on Twitch, as far as I know as of now. It'll have been out since Friday for everybody. I mean, as we're recording this, it's Wednesday, and Patreon members have already got it, but it's coming out on Friday for everybody else, so you'll have it as of Friday. So it's by the time this is dropping, you've got it. Pornhub, we're not on Pornhub yet, Jamie. I would have thought that the amount of time we fucking spend on there, you would have realised that.
I mean, I searched through it all. It was just for study. A lot of studying to do. You see, like I want to get, because I've got, like, we've got the our own Canon camera. I've got a Canon camera in here, so I want to get it all good quality with the video diary stuff. So I'm splashing out in the fucking, getting a new mic and all that for it this week, just to make sure that that's done. But I'm not even getting a new mic. I'm getting fucking new battery packs and new chargers, all the exciting shit that I need to spend money on. And I've got a mic for free with it, which is really nice considering they cost a fortune. No, the mics, I mean, everything else I'm fucking buying, they give me a free 20 quid mic, you pricks. I've already got a mic, I don't need one. But getting all that done. And then once I get they've sent through, I can start battling it. I'll get the first 2 of the video diaries up at the one time. And then just that's us. We'll just start kind of battling on for there. So, but it's all exciting stuff. It's all good.
That's excellent, man. Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing the video diaries. I'm looking forward to taking part in some of them, in the Q&A ones as well. It's going to be really exciting as we move into kind of the start of the year, and this really starts to ramp up, and we start really going to work on making this film happen. You've already got, I don't know how much I can say about it, but you've got some kind of funding secured, or you're on the verge of securing some funding for the film. So
there's a couple of talk about match funding. And I need to apply. There's a lot of grants I can apply for, but they're all at the start of the year stuff as well. They restart again, so I'm just going to start fucking sending all the stuff away for that. And then we're putting up a Kickstarter as well. But again, the Kickstarter won't start till February, run right through to March. Obviously, we're looking at March for shooting now rather than February, but I'd say it's fucking multiple times that it was going to be like if we stay out January, February, March is probably the more likely one. So that gives us time to get all the stuff done. Can't do a lot of fundraising or Christmas, obviously, because people are fucking skint. They're skint just buying presents for people. I'm not going to start asking folk for different funds for cash and that. So that won't start till February. and it'll run right through March as well. It'll run right up until when we start shooting.
Mm-hmm.
So the next thing I need to do is absolutely secure. There's a few places we're looking at for locations, but I want to secure the locations so we get them kind of guaranteed.
Yeah.
I want to do these rewrites because why the guys want to see what we're doing. In fact, everybody want to see what they're doing. They want to know when they're going to fucking wreck their place. But
unfortunately, you've let an absolute madman loose on the script, so it's going to be going to be more batshit than even you had realised.
Oh, it's definitely going to be batshit. But that's what you want. You want it to be fun. Mm-hmm. It's going to be fucking entertaining. That's what it's all about.
Absolutely. Yeah, look forward to being part of that. Let's talk about what we're here to talk about tonight, man. We're talking about another record from my personal collection.
Is it Monster? Yes. Oh shit! No, it's no.
It's just a little bastard, isn't it? What's that doing here? We're not here to talk about Monster. Maybe another time. We're here to talk about B1000 by Guided by Voices, my favourite band in the world.
Because you don't talk about it.
B1000 is probably, if not the most famous record, it's one of the two most famous records alongside its successor Alien Lanes, but this one came out in June 21st, 1994 on Scat Records. Let's take a quick look at the track listing. On side A, you've got Hardcore UFOs, Buzzards and Dreadful Crows, Tractor Rate Chain, the Goldheart Mountain Top Queen Directory, Hot Freaks, Smothered in Hugs, Yours to Keep, and Echoes Myron. Side B is Gold Star for Robot Boy, Awful Bliss, Mincer Ray, a big fan of the Pig Pen, Queen of Cans and Jars, Her Psychology Today, Kicker of Elves, Esther's Day, Demons Are Real, I Am a Scientist, Peephole, and You're Not an Airplane. So that's Guided by Voices B1000. Jamie, have you given that a good listen?
Yeah, I have.
And what did you think, man?
I enjoyed it. It was good. It wasn't what I was expecting. I certainly wasn't expecting 20 tracks on average.
Yeah.
I'd probably say the average is what, a minute and 20 seconds. It's a strange album. I don't even mean that in a bad way. I think it's one that you'd need to have it on all the time for it to really. But I do that with music anyway. I can become fucking obsessed with something. I'll listen to it multiple times, and I think that one would definitely stick in your head without many replayings. I was saying it later on. I even talked to Becky, but I said they sounded like Crowded House a bit to me. She said more like Violent Femmes. So there's like it's all good folk that they sound kind of like. The Crowded House thing is specifically the vocalist, I think, more than anything else.
Interesting.
It's an interesting band with some very interesting, disturbing song titles, John. I mean, song number 3. Jesus Christ, what happened there?
I mean, it's Tractor Rate Chain. I don't know. Like,
is it just cut down the David Bowie thing when he's cut like words out of a newspaper and flung in a box, pulled it through, and he went, "Oh fuck, we have to do it. We have to do it."
I mean, I probably wouldn't be surprised, to be honest, man. The guy's written that many different songs that.
Yeah, I mean that's what their 100th album. I mean that's a lot of albums. Were they bringing out an album?
B1000 was their 7th record. They formed originally in like 1983.
I knew it was 80s, but that's earlier than I thought. Fuck.
The first EP came out in like 86, and then their first full length, Devil Between My Toes, came out in 87. So there were 7 records between 87 and 94. That's absolutely nothing. Since my son was born, I think they've released either a dozen or 13 records.
Jesus.
Since Arthur was born, and Arthur is 3.5 years old. Yeah, it's quite mental, the pace that Guided by Voices released records at.
How many in total?
I think the most recent one was Guided by Voices' 39th album.
Jesus, that's mental.
If I remember rightly. Bob Pollard is well over 100 individually, like in terms of like Guided by Voices in solo stuff and side projects and that. Yeah, he's prolific, to say the absolute least. And I mean, I'm biased, obviously, but I would honestly say I've never put on a Bob Pollard record and like disliked it. There are some that I like. Yeah, there are obviously everybody's.
the man's obviously injecting speed right into his eyes. Because he's not sleeping. He can't even sleep.
Yeah. Yeah, he probably sleeps about an hour a night and then has to get up for the bathroom. And he's like, "Oh, I'm just going for a piss." And he's like, "You've been doing in there, nothing." Yeah, Bob, like he's consistently good, and at times absolutely excellent. So yeah, guided by voices. This is B1000. I'm glad you liked it, man. It's a special record for me because it's the cliche of like records that change your life and all that. But like, I Am a Scientist is the song that I heard first. That's my first ever Guided by Voices song I heard in 2010. I have this weird false memory that developed of seeing the video on Beavis and Butthead, which never happened because the video apparently was never on Beavis and Butthead. So I have absolutely no idea where I actually saw the video,
right?
Or heard the song. But that was the first song I heard, and I was like, that is an earworm for sure. Like that is a very interesting song.
Yeah.
Like, there's nothing like Guided by Voices, like you say. Like when you first hear it, it's quite interesting. So I heard that, and then I did a kind of YouTube search, and I found Game of Pricks and My Valuable Hunting Knife, and then the obsession developed through there. So yeah, that was the first kind of record of theirs that I really dived into. I didn't actually own a physical copy of it until about 2 years ago. Previous to that, I always listened to it on Spotify. But I think B1000 is a must for any kind of proper record collector. Let's talk about Guided by Voices pre-B1000 and how the album ended up happening. So Bob Pollard is the kind of centerpiece of Guided by Voices, a very loose collective of musicians back in the day. They didn't really have a settled lineup for the first decade or so of their existence. But Bob Pollard, he's the constant, he's always there. He was a school teacher, and he was kind of dovetailing Guided by Voices with his teaching career. He was on the verge of breaking up the band and focusing on his teaching career until right around the time that B1000 hit. Propeller, I think, was originally going to be the final record. That was released in 92. And they released Vampire on Titus in 1993, which I think, again, was going to be the last one. And then B1000, he was planning to make like the final. And of course, that album was a hit. And then that was sort of where Big Guided by Voices hit a streak of records, which encompasses B1000, Alien Lanes, Under the Bushes, Under the Stars, Mag Earwig, which is my personal favourite Guided by Voices record. And then they went major and brought out To the Collapse, which was both a commercial failure, so to speak, and also one that the band look back on as not being as good as it could have been because they tried to make it too shiny and too major label and too hi-fi. Yeah, when the charm with them had always been like the way that they recorded songs was Bob Pollard would write a fucking million songs a day, and then they would be recorded in a hodgepodge of different ways. Like they would be recorded in basements with 4-track machines. They would be recorded in local studios at like their houses and stuff like that. So that's kind of where B1000's charm comes from, is that it's more or less a patchwork of older unused songs that they had kind of reworked. And all these songs had all been kind of written in basements or recorded in basements and stuff like that. The only 2 songs that I believe were written for the record were I Am a Scientist and Gold Star for Robot Boy, if I remember rightly, because they came along late in the development of the album. The development of B1000 itself is insane, like because it went through like I think 6 different identities and several different names. It was originally, I think, going to be called. I've written it down. It was originally going to be called All That Glue. It was later called Hardcore UFOs. I've got another one here as well. It was going to be called. What else was it going to be called? There was another name. Okay, that's right. Instructions for the Rusty Time Machine, which is a good one. That's actually a lyric for a song, but that's a brilliant name. So it went through several different like structures and sequences and names, and then it ended up being B1000, 20 tracks of pure perfection. The actual name B1000 as well came about through a local movie theatre misspelling the name of the film Beethoven. So it's B-Thown rather than Beethoven. And apparently Bob Pollard thought that was hilarious because it sounded like saying Pete Townsend. And he's a big fan of The Who. So that's apparently where the title of the record came from. the cover art for...
Can it make sense, mate? Can it make sense?
The cover art for B1000 is mental. It's just kind of like mostly white blank. The title of the record is upside. The band's name's upside. I had to check the back there to check. The band's name is like upside down, and then it's lowercase B1000, and then there's like a wizard. And I looked that up. Apparently, that's for something that they took out of National Geographic.
Right.
I don't know exactly where it came from. The back cover art's pretty cool. That's pretty fun.
Is that something stuff? That's the Led Zeppelin. Wee Wassy walking upstairs.
You're talking about Houses of the Holy?
Aye, I'm sure that's one of them.
Is it Houses of the Holy?
Aye, I guess.
I'll tell you the note. Where's the credits? It doesn't have any art credits, which is weird.
It's probably an invisible ink.
Maybe. Anyway, so the personnel on the record: Robert Pollard, Tobin Sprout, Jim Pollard, Robert Pollard's brother, Mitch Mitchell, not Hendrix's drummer, another Mitch Mitchell, Dan Toohey, and Kevin Fennell, with Don Thrasher and Greg Damos. Greg Damos is famous for his trousers. He wore these crazy striped trousers on tour, and he's pretty well known for that. The special thanks on the record include Kim Deal, who at the time I believe was a close friend of Robert Pollard's.
Right.
She's from Dayton, Ohio, which is the same town as Guided by Voices are from, so they knew each other at some point. It was a massive hit. It basically put Guided by Voices' name on the map. It was on like year-end lists of like the best albums in 1994. It's really high. It's probably the best reviewed Guided by Voices record, with the possible exception to Alien Lanes, but even then I think B1000's probably even better rated than that. And it's considered a revolutionary record in terms of like the lo-fi subgenre, which is a label that I don't think Bob Pollard has ever fully embraced as such.
Yeah,
to him it was just
lo-fi and avant pop.
Yeah, like to him it's sort of like just the way it happened. Like economic necessity, and also just learning to sort of love doing it that way. Well, how they ended up doing it that way, but they kind of get lumped in with bands like Sebadoh and stuff like that, who were part of that so-called lo-fi.
That's intentional lo-fi. Ones, I think. Yeah.
Aye. So yeah, like it was really well regarded. It's considered quite a highly influential record. It influenced me for sure. It's influenced me quite a bit. My music taste has been reshaped by discovering Guided by Voices, and also my own music, like how I approached particularly singing, but also writing lyrics as well, was inspired by Robert Pollard, and particularly this album. So it's an inspirational record in so many ways, for better and for worse, I suppose. Again, post B1000, the follow-up to that was 1995's Alien Lanes. It was released in April 1995, so less than a year after B1000. It's considered to be an all-time classic as well. Rolling Stone gave it 4 stars. Pitchfork gave it 9.2 out of 10. So Spin gave it 7 out of 10 in 1995, but then reappraised it to 2.5 to 4.5. What's that?
Pitchfork are definitely wankers now.
Aye, yeah. Spin reappraised it in 2006 and gave it 4.5 stars, because so they've obviously been like, oh shit, everybody absolutely loves this record. We better say, oh, we love it too. But Aye. Alien Lanes is another absolute classic that we'll probably cover on a later Icy cast. Yeah, like you mentioned how many tracks there were on it, I just wanted to quickly touch on the director's cut. So there was actually a director's cut, like an attempt made to present the most complete version of B1000 that they could, back in 2004, right around the first time that the band split up. And I think the director's cut has about 55 songs on it.
Bloody hell.
I think it's like 55. It's 6 sides and 55 tracks. It's sort of 8 minutes longer.
Yeah. Why was that all the songs that they were thinking they were putting on the album then?
So as far as I'm aware, the director's cut was kind of made an attempt to resequence it and add to it and sort of give you the earliest possible version of B1000 that they could with workable songs.
Right, okay.
You know what I mean? So it's not like a case of just every single song that was ever written or put together for it, but specifically the earliest possible complete version, if that makes sense.
Aye, it just gives you everything that was involved in the project, basically.
It's basically like, this is what it could have sounded like if they had made it a double album, for instance. Because I think that at one point making it a double record was actually considered, but eventually it ended up not being. I mean, when I look at the track list of the director's cut, I would fucking love the director's cut version. I would imagine, though it's probably quite expensive and quite hard to get out here.
Yeah,
I would imagine getting it out here would be quite difficult.
Did you not have to get B1000 to the States as well?
I was very fortunate. I got mine through Juno Records. Juno Records had it in at one point. I think it's more widely available here than it was before. Like when I first started following Guided by Voices, I couldn't find that for Hide Nor Hair.
Right, okay.
For Love Nor Money, I meant to say. Yeah, I'm mixing up my whatever. It's pretty widely available these days, and I would recommend it to anybody. With that in mind, actually, what would you get as an overall rating, Jamie?
I mean, I'm not going to go quite high, and I'd say 7. I'd say 7.
7.
Aye, and that's no bad considering, like, I could still listen to it a lot more times. And in fact, when I do listen to it, I'll probably will get higher again. Do you know what I mean? I'd say my favourite track at the start, I would go for 4 and 5 were good tracks together. Golden Heart Mountain, Hot Freaks. Other two standouts for me were obviously I'm a Scientist. I really liked Gold Star for Robots as well. I wasn't a big fan on Demons Are Real. I thought that was probably one of the weakest ones. Yeah, it's just it's a weird. I think the placement is weird. I know how difficult it is to get these things, like the placement of songs and records. Like that's really difficult, and he must have put it there for a reason. But I thought that was a Garen track in there.
I feel like the placement of the songs, like Demons Are Real and things like that, are intentional, because it's almost as if like the previous track kind of drops it. And that just kind of kicks straight in. It's almost as if the start of that interrupts the end of the previous one. And I think that is by design. I think that's something that's taken even further in Alien Lanes. It feels as if you're kind of flicking through radio stations at times. Alien Lanes, it goes so frantically. But yeah, so 7 out of 10. That means you gave it the same rating as NME.
Right. Okay, and I might even jump to Pitchfork later on, but with less wank. So
Pitchfork have given the director's cut an 8.4 out of 10. So yeah, you're in bed with NME there. Like you're fucking racked.
I don't like that. I don't like that at all.
B1000 for me.
I don't like seeing a 7.4, 7.5, 8.2. Fuck that. Stick with this.
Just round it down or round it up, man. I agree. Or give it like a percentage rating instead if you're going to do that kind of bullshit.
Percentage is all right. You're stating what it is. Yeah.
So, Guided by Voices, B1000 for me kind of goes with it saying that this is a 10 out of 10 record in my view. My favourite tracks on it are The opening track, Hardcore UFOs, is one of the best openers on any record out there. It's one of my all-time favourite opening tracks. I Am a Scientist, obviously, holds a really special place with me.
Yeah.
And also Kicker of Elves is just brilliant. I love Kicker of Elves. So that's B1000. A very, very brief overview. We've kind of had to throw the format out the window tonight. And sort of shoot for the hip a wee bit because it's only the two of us. So we've kind of thrown together what we could. Before we go, Jamie, I just have a couple of wee quick thank yous that I want to throw out. Yeah. I want to show some thanks to Jonathan Lucas, Sean Bentley, Dawson Nolly, and this is a name that I'm not entirely sure the pronunciation of. Phonetically, it looks like Raina Lychee, but it could well be Raina Lychee. But Raina Lychee, if that's indeed how you pronounce it, or Raina, shared the story of how they found B1000, and I want to read that out just now.
Okay.
I read about Getting by Voices and Gonzo Circus, a Belgian magazine on real alternative and underground music. They covered a very wide range of styles. In one edition, if I recall correctly, they sort of zoomed in on the lo-fi movement of mid-90s, but sort of overlooked GBV. Then, in a later edition, they reviewed B1000 and sort of wondered how they overlooked this band. The review itself made me very, very curious. It mentioned all sorts of references that intrigued, especially when mentioned together: prog, punk, lo-fi, Beatles, you name it. I tracked down a CD copy, and as soon as those opening guitars of Hardcore UFOs burned my speakers, I fell in love. Yeah. I needed a couple of spins to grasp the density and brilliance of the album in its entirety. Echoes Myron and Goldheart Mountaintop were absolutely beyond everything. And then around 95, 96, they were going to perform on Pukkelpop. That show had it all. It had everything I needed at that time. Older rockers oozing and boozing, high kicks, an uninterrupted avalanche of genius songs, wrong notes, feedback, at a time when rock was practically brain dead. Post-rock was becoming a thing. These guys were saviours. Also, at the same time, I was in a band, and one of the guys had Propeller and Vampire on Titus on CD, so that was even more goodness to copy onto tape. Not that spectacular a story, but it is my B1000 story. Rainer, really appreciate you reaching out with that story. It was a joy to read out, to be honest, on the show. Guided by Voices, to know them is to love them. Jamie, do you have any... Has this record kind of maybe given you a wee push to dive in at the deep end and check out more of the discography?
I definitely will check out my other stuff. There was actually stuff like popping up on the thing when I was watching it, because I had it on YouTube while I was doing the other stuff as well the day, just as an extra wee bit. I thought, I'll stick it on again just before we start. And it was putting up stuff at Alien Lane's and that as well. And Alien Lane sounds very good, so that's another one I'll be getting right into after this. So, absolutely.
We will definitely talk about Alien Lanes on the show. And we might have to wait until 2025, though, because then that'll be the 30th anniversary of Alien Lanes. But yeah, that's pretty much it. We don't really have too much more to cover here tonight. Let's just kind of end with the plugs. Like I said earlier, Weird Box, Fairy Mythology, that's out now. Again, apologies for the delay. You can find it on our Facebook, our YouTube, and our Twitch.
Yep.
Facebook is Icycast Pod. YouTube and Twitch are both just Icebox Glasgow. We have Things Christmas Ruined coming up next week. We're probably going to do a recording of the next two at some point next week. And we might try and do it in person as well. So Brewhouse will be coming back to do that, hopefully. The next one after Things Christmas Ruined is going to be the first episode of Names of Games, something that we announced about 9 months ago and then completely forgot about. So that's coming on the 1st of January. We're starting, of course, with the letter A. So that'll be fun. That'll be an interesting wee kind of sub-series. On the 8th of January, we are going to dive into my record collection once more. And I've got a very special one for that. It's going to be...
Yes, Monster. Thank fuck. Oh, no, it's not.
In Shape of Punk to Come by Refused. An absolutely amazing punk rock record. So we're going to listen to this. We're going to hear it. We're going to love it. We're going to talk about it.
Cool.
Refused, The Shape of Punk to Come. That's a masterpiece from back in 1998. That's going to be releasing on the 8th of January. Join us on Facebook at Icebox Glasgow. Follow the podcast on Facebook at IcyCast Pod. Also keep up with the latest on Soundbooth, the film that we're making, on Facebook at Flight Promotions.
That's the one.
And check us out. Follow us everywhere. Follow us on Facebook. Follow us on YouTube, Twitch,
Parks,
X, Instagram.
Yep.
Icebox Glasgow, everywhere except for the podcast, which is IcyCast Pod, and that's just on Facebook. Until next week, Jamie, been a pleasure. I shall catch up with you in a couple of days.
Absolutely. And I'll see everybody later.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.